On Citi Breakfast. My name is Bernard Avle. I'm here with Godfred and Kojo. So many things happening. Let's keep in touch. WhatsApp 054 998 6996. That's our WhatsApp number 054 998 6996. We're also available on social media. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Citi CBS is the hashtag. All right, so gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Bernard. How are you?
Welcome to April.
Yes, it's a new month.
Yes. In the middle of the week.
Yes.
And things will change.
Things will change, and our prayer to God,
we pray so.
begin.
It has to change.
Amen.
It has to shift.
Yep.
There has to be a performance.
Yes.
We cannot enter the mighty month of May with COVID.
We can't. We can't do that. We can't do that.
COVID must die in April.
And our prayer to God this month is to let the healing begin.
I'm telling you, started this morning with a team, and it's a great theme.
To let the healing begin.
It will start gradually, but suddenly COVID will disappear.
And also, April, please, people, stay home. Stay home.
And whilst we are at it, let's all obey, as he said. Stay home. Wash your hands with soap and running water, if possible. If you don't have running water, still wash your hands. Use a hand sanitizer. And, of course, observe all the social distancing rules.
Yeah.
Don't sneeze or cough into people's faces, into your elbow. It's important. And stay at least 1.5 meters away from other people.
Yeah.
And put on a mask if you have one.
And as much as possible, eat well so that your system will be in a good shape. Your immunity will be in a very good shape.
Drink
Eat
lots
well,
of water.
Drink lots of water. And sleep as well. I've noticed that
Yes.
people are unable to sleep much. When you go online in the night, you see a lot of activity.
What are they doing there?
I don't know, maybe during the
people
day,
are checking.
you work a little bit, you entertain yourself a little bit, you study a little bit, you take a nap here and there. So in the night, and people still don't know where we are going, whether this thing is going to blow over very soon. So there's a lot of anxiety in the system. Yeah. But let's pray that the healing will begin
the thing about
and
sleep
will
is
give
that
us the strength
the time
to
you sleep
endure.
is also important. The best time to sleep is at 10 p.m. when you finish watching The Point of View. when you finish, so like 10:05. So when I finish 9, I start at 9. By 10, when I finish, then you drink a cup of Milo.
And then you sleep.
You will
Brush your
sleep
teeth
like
and
a
sleep.
baby. You even dream.
If not for something, I would have said that this message is approved by the FDA.
So please, tonight, watch us. Yesterday, Godfred was on with a doctor talking about COVID-19, and he finished around 10.
Dr. Yesu Dankwa.
Then you do Milo, the thick one, some. The one that they add milk to it.
And
You don't know the name.
Milo
Pampa.
Pampa.
Milo
Yes.
Pampa.
Then by that time you have crossed your leg on the sofa, you see, and you put a towel around you. So when you drink the Milo, no, then you sleep.
But the Milo, is it warm or cold Milo?
No, it's warm.
Yeah,
It's not cold. It shouldn't be hot. It's just warm.
The one that has the foam at the top. When you drink it, that one is the foam, no? You can't. That one you don't measure the proportion of the Milo in the milk.
No,
You just-
you shegum.
shegum.
There was this my teacher who would never drink any tea or any Milo again because it was the plain and they served him Milo, hot chocolate. See, in the plane, the vapor won't rise.
So he put the thing in
So
his mouth.
Hope the thing was okay. So he just lifted the mug and bah, and it burnt him.
So do you swallow it or do you throw it out? That's the question. Anyway, so gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you again, Bernard.
we are going to start with the Ghanaian Times.
The Ghanaian Times, police arrest dozens over breach of lockdown directive. Police military show of force as they step up operations against lockdown defiance. 31 out of 161 COVID-19 patients discharged. And Tema police deploy 330 security personnel for partial lockdown.
Front page of the Daily Graphic, security skills app operations, additional checkpoints mounted. Virtual learning on TV begins April 3. Veronica Bucket inventor seeks government support for patenting.
Now, the new crusading guide, Brian Champon fights off allegations of land grabbing. Suspects someone wants to tarnish chiefs and his image. COVID-19, Ghana records 31 discharges. The headline here says recoveries, but the actual terminology for it is discharges. ADB commits 1 million Ghana cedis to COVID-19 fight. Ghana scholarship goes online for all applications. And tension in Achim and Yunum as youth group unduly takes over mining concession.
Front page of the new publisher, day 3 of lockdown directive, beatings galore as soldiers, cops descend on civilians. COVID-19 girl runs away, 60 hide in cow truck to escape lockdown. Well, let me give you one more then. From the front page of the Daily Post, comes with a large photo of NDC General Secretary Johnson Esidun Ketia. Ignore EC and SP. focus on coronavirus. Esidun Ketia to NDC members.
Let's take you online. Lots of stories. CitiNewsroom.com is the leading with repatriating Guineans, Burkinabes who tested positive is dangerous. This is Mahama Yariga. Also, Gender Ministry NADMO to offer further support to stranded Kayaye. This is the AMA speaking. 49 coronavirus patients discharged and are being managed from home. Meanwhile, Ayawaso West is identified as COVID-19 hotspot. Compulsory testing begins today, and we'll give you more information on this later on. Meanwhile, Minority Leader demands briefing from Health Minister on COVID-19 fight. If you go onto the list, 161 confirmed cases, 5 deaths, 3 recoveries, and as we read, 49 are being managed from home. Let's go to business. City Business News. Top hotels in Accra shut down due to poor patronage over COVID-19. Very tragic. Yesterday on CNR, Vivian she went to a hotel, there was nobody there. And the other hotel said they had cut down from 400 to 30 people working. Something drastic needs to happen. Also, COVID-19 stimulus package must go to critical areas. This is an economist. Meanwhile, COCOBOT CEO and deputies donate salaries and hand sanitizers to aid COVID-19 fight. And then ADB cuts staff by 45% to ensure and observe social distancing. Meanwhile, government hints of new budget by July. This is Finance Minister in an interview I had with him, which will air tonight on The Point of View. If you go to myjoyonline.com, soldiers in doctor social media videos are not on COVID-19 operation. This is the Ghana Armed Forces sending out a statement. Also, compulsory house-to-house testing for coronavirus begins in Ayawaso West. And then Ghana declines request to transfer body of Dutch coronavirus victim to private mortuary. This we read on yesterday. Let me take you to Star FM online. COVID-19, Baumia donates 500 cedis each to fleeing Kayaye. And also, government can't be trusted with heritage stabilization funds. This is according to an energy analyst called Jan Tua. And Lekma quarantines 22 staff after doctor tests positive. We read this for you yesterday. Let's go to GNA. Sanitation Ministry to spearhead cleanup exercises in major cities. So, taking advantage of the stay in to clean the cities.
Best time.
Armed forces to prosecute producers of fake videos. Also, as we read, this is still GNA. Compulsory testing starts today at Ayawaso West Municipality, which is the hot spot. And the companies now have up to 30 June to file annual returns. This is from Registrar General's Department. Let's take you to other parts of the continent. Burundi announces first 2 cases of COVID-19. This is from East Africa. Also, ex-Congo president dies of coronavirus. That's coming in from that Central Africa as well. And there's a few more. BBC, Trump warns of very painful weeks ahead. This is what the BBC is leading with. And the story says, no sugarcoating. Trump changes tack on the coronavirus. Meanwhile, stock market suffers worst quarter since 1987. And we are told that the coronavirus outbreak is the greatest test since World War II. Okay, and then an interesting story here. Zoom under increased scrutiny as its popularity soars. You know Zoom?
Yeah.
No
Zoom.
Now, let's take you to CNN. It says Trump's alarming message portends tragic days ahead for the U.S. And their statistical models show up to 240,000 coronavirus deaths in U.S. Could happen. Now, a few good stories. World's largest coronavirus lockdown is having a dramatic impact on pollution in India. So apparently when people stay home, they pollute less. So that's an interesting one. Let me take you finally to China, and it says pandemic triggers radical change in global consumer behavior. Pandemic triggers radical changes in global consumer behavior. And then China must stop planning blind and start rescuing the economy. This is an article from one of their columnists called Carrie Huang. Let's go to the local papers. I have a lot of international stories.
Okay, so we'll split the time fairly.
There's a couple of stories. Austria, for example, has declared that everybody going out must wear a face mask before they go to a supermarket. In a town in Germany, they've also decided that you need to wear a face mask compulsorily.
Yes.
So that's some of the changes we're seeing.
And environmentalists are also calling for the abolition of live wildlife markets.
Yes.
They believe that the growth of these is also pushing or encouraging more transfer of viruses from wildlife to
So
human beings.
let's start with the Ghanaian stories, and I'll take you abroad.
All right, then let me tell you about the security who have scaled up operations on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Checkpoints have increased on most of the roads in Accra and Tema as the Operation COVID-19 safety team steps up efforts to enforce the movement restriction directive. On the first day of the directive, security presence was more at the main entry points to the regions affected by the directive, while the roads were mostly free. However, the Daily Graphic observed yesterday that there was more security visibility on the roads on the stretch that leads into town. As many as 6 checkpoints could be counted. For instance, from Tema to Accra, there were about 7 checkpoints, with a similar situation prevailing on the Adenta Accra route, as well as on the Spintex Tete Kwashi stretch. A source close to the operational center of the Operation COVID-19 Safety, as the enforcement team is nicknamed, told the Daily Graphic that security had been stepped up on the internal roads for the exercise to achieve its intended purpose. Now, as part of the scale-up in the exercise, all management members of the police administration were yesterday deployed to all the sectors in Accra and Kumasi and Kaswa to supervise the work of security personnel. The Ghana Armed Forces also deployed its commissioned officers to support the exercise. Now, also on concerns that have been raised, a source expressed concern that some Ghanaians affected by the restrictions seem not to understand the import of the directives. They also observed that social distancing was not being observed. You can find many people crowded at a joint to buy food without observing the protocol. Same was observed with commercial drivers who were refusing to comply and were loading fully as well.
Okay.
Now, on the security issues, Tema Police deployed 330 security personnel to enforce partial lockdown. James Agaga is also saying that people should obey the lockdown rules to avoid trouble. But one of the most important stories of this is from Ambrose Derry, the Minister for the Interior. He says that the authorities will deal with erring officers. Now, the story says the Minister for the Interior, Mr. Ambrose Derry, has assured that officers found culpable of brutalizing citizens in the ongoing partial lockdown will be dealt with according to the law. He reiterated that the operation was a humanitarian one and not one to terrorize innocent citizens. Speaking in an interview, Mr. Derry acknowledged some of the videos making rounds are real and have been sent to the appropriate quarters for investigations and apprehension.
Now, let's talk about the stranded Kayaye. That stories we've been leading on. We have 2 updates on this.
Yes.
Gender Ministry, NADMO, to offer further support to stranded Kayaye. According to the AMA, this is CitiNewsroom.com. Ministry of Gender and Social Protection is expected to cater for 76 head porters, also known as Kayaye, who were instructed to return to Accra after being intercepted at Ejiso in the Ashanti region during the partial lockdown. They were intercepted at Ejiso on Monday when they were being smuggled, if you want, to northern Ghana in an attempt to escape the partial lockdown that was enforced in Accra. CEO of AMA, Mohamed Nia Jesua, says NADMO has made available some mattresses for the head porters, and also the AMA has also provided them temporary shelter. He also said further support is expected from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Now, we interviewed the women and they said they wanted to just be allowed to go back to Wale Wale because it was time for them to plant, and that the little money they had raised would be used for transportation. So they'll go and plant their seeds and stuff, and then as the things grow, they will come back to Accra and work. And that seems to be the model for them. Now, still on this issue, there's a report that Baumia has donated 500 cedis each to fleeing Kayaye. This story is on Star FM. It says Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia has donated 500 cedis to each of the stranded Kayaye who were stopped at Ejiso in the Ashanti region on their way to the northern region. In a response to what has happened, the Vice President donated 500 cedis to each of them to ameliorate their plight during the period of the partial lockdown. The donation was made on behalf of the Vice President by Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Haji Halima Mahama. She was accompanied by Dr. Sagri Bambangi, MP for Wale Wale, and Mustafa Yusuf, CEO of the National Service Secretariat. Now, as I said, a lot of the women said they were going to Wale Wale, which is Dr. Baumia's hometown as well. Now, the Vice President has also urged all Ghanaians to continue to observe the preventive measures of regular washing of hands with soap and running water while they observe the partial lockdown in their respective homes.
And this is great coming from the Vice President. And as a man of data modeling and forecasting, maybe we don't know where this is going to get us, but maybe the data available of the spaces that we can use. As a Vice President, he should get the appropriate agencies together to start planning and getting those places ready for any future occurrences, the schools and the places. Now, on COVID-19, Wejagbawe residents to undergo compulsory testing. You also read that Ayawaso West were going
Yes,
also going
so
to
not just
undergo.
Ayawaso West. And then we are also to Kumasi to see more testing.
Yes, so this story in the center spread of the Ghanaian Times says that the Wejagbawe municipality in the Greater Accra region is under total lockdown till Friday, April 10, to pave the way for compulsory testing of all residents for COVID-19.
Wow.
The directive, effective yesterday, March 31, follows the confirmation of 2 cases in the municipality and its suspected community spread, according to the MCA, Patrick Kumo. He told the Ghanaian Times in a telephone interview yesterday that the Assembly and the Municipal Health Directorate came up with a strategy to curb further spread upon getting wind of the cases. The municipality is one of the designated enclaves in the Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi metropolitan areas already under a 14-day partial lockdown. And according to him, as of midday yesterday, contact tracing had begun to ascertain the number of people who had come into contact with the 2 confirmed cases. He said at least 2/3 of the entire population of about 235,000 had been targeted in the mass testing, particularly 7 electoral areas identified as hotspots.
So this is
That's a really
Wejagbawe.
high number.
Then if you come to Ayawaso West Wuogon, the story says a compulsory test house-to-house coronavirus tracing and testing exercise is to be carried out in Ayawaso West Municipality today. The announcement was made by the Municipal Health Directorate following the identification of the municipality as a hotspot for the virus. Now, the exercise will be conducted for 10 days to tackle the spread. The directive from the national level has been given to conduct a COVID-19 contact tracing of all persons who have come into contact with COVID-19 positive patients and conduct compulsory house-to-house testing of every individual residing in Ayawaso West Municipality, the statement from health authorities indicated. Now, because of this, over 100 health and security officers from the police, immigration, and national security are being deployed. Then let me take you to Ashanti, still on this issue. This is my joy online. Ghana Health Service begins mass COVID-19 tests in Ashanti region as well. So strategy, as you said, has changed. Now we are doing more testing. The only other question is whether the type of test we are doing will allow us to do enough tests. And we'll speak to somebody about that this morning. Now, the Ghana Health Service will soon hit high-risk communities in Ashanti region with house-to-house tests of people suspected to be carrying the coronavirus. Health authorities say the move has become necessary in the region, which is one of the epicenters of the COVID-19 pandemic in Ghana, following the death of 2 persons out of 9 confirmed cases. And then the story says Deputy Regional Director in charge of Public Health, Dr. Alfred Yeboah, revealed all is set for health officials to pick up samples for testing at the KCCR at KNUST, and it forms part of active surveillance measures being implemented by the Directorate to control the spread of COVID-19.
Some papers are reporting on the recoveries. Ghanaian Times has that story.
So does
The only thing is that the Kumasi one, they didn't tell us the specific localities in Kumasi. You know, in Accra, it said Wejagbawe, Ayawaso West. The Kumasi, the story here is just saying parts of Kumasi. They didn't tell us exactly where.
All right. Now, on the story, the headline Kujo just spoke about, if you go to page 20 of the Daily Graphic, 49 COVID-19 patients treated, discharged. The Minister of Health, Mr. Kukwajima Menu, has indicated that 31 COVID-19 patients who were held in isolation centers had been treated and discharged as of yesterday. However, the minister said the 31 people had been made to go into mandatory self-quarantine and are monitoring for about 4 weeks, after which follow-up tests will be done to declare them fully recovered. So that is some information.
And it's important to differentiate between
the two.
Recovery and
Being discharged.
Being discharged to go and be treated at home.
Yes.
Because yesterday a lot of people were saying that 31 people have recovered and we are still reporting 3. 3 people have recovered per the way recovery is supposed to be done.
Protocol, yeah.
Only 3 so far. Let's not rush the process and misinform everybody.
Yeah.
So the 48 people, was it 49?
Yeah.
They have been discharged and asked to go and continue treatment at home. That doesn't mean they've recovered.
Yeah.
Kojo?
Let me take you to another interesting story, COVID-related and sanitation-related.
Everywhere.
George, sorry. This
This is a different story, yes. Read
this
the
is
Daily
what-
Crusading Guide
Let
one.
me read the Crusading Guide one on the Vice President.
Yeah.
Ghana scholarship goes online for all applications. Now, we don't want contacts any longer.
Okay.
And before the COVID, one of the biggest stories was the scholarship secretariat issues. Now, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, has launched the Scholarship Secretariat's online scholarship application and administration system. And beginning April 1, 2020, in just 4 easy steps, any applicant can apply from the comfort of their homes, take an aptitude test, and be interviewed in their own districts without coming to Accra as was done in the past.
Better take us international.
So many stories, guys. So I'm going to start off with CNN, and it looks like America's going to have a lot of difficult. President Donald Trump, this is CNN, finally leveled with America about the desperate reality of COVID-19 or coronavirus pandemic, warning of cruel weeks to come in one of the most chilling White House moments in modern history.
Wow.
Even with blanket nationwide adoption of stringent mitigation efforts, between 100 and 240,000 Americans could face death in the coming weeks in a cascading nationwide ordeal, according to modeling explained by senior members of the President's Emergency Task Force on Tuesday. It is in the nature of the presidency that the commander-in-chief sometimes has to deliver grave news to the nation, and then they give some backgrounds. But it's basically saying that if you look at the models, between 100,000 and 240,000 Americans could die in the coming day. Now, it was not the first time that administration experts modeled the staggering possible death toll, but the combination of the president's unusually serious demeanor and the ominous curve charts of his top public health officials struck a note of alarm missing from Trump's previous knockabout briefings. So essentially, he's facing the music. This is serious.
Yeah,
So
and we are told that 3 out of 4 Americans under some form of lockdown.
second story, coronavirus, Zoom under increased scrutiny as popularity soars.
Of course.
The video conferencing app Zoom has come under fresh high-level scrutiny as its popularity soars during the coronavirus pandemic. This is BBC. New York's Attorney General has written to the firm raising concern over its ability to cope with the rise in users. Zoom is now being used by millions of people for work and leisure as lockdowns are imposed in many countries. But its data security and privacy measures have been questioned. Now, I don't know whether it's because of the increase in usage. Okay.
So what happens with these apps is that they should have end-to-end encryption. So if you are using WhatsApp or Signal or some of these Telegram, it should be end-to-end encryption such that the company should not have access to the data you are transferring or the information you are transferring.
Yeah.
But the information coming is that Zoom may not be end-to-end when it comes to the video calls, but messages like text sent via Zoom is end-to-end. So people are saying Zoom should do better with their security.
And also, they also provide data to other ad agencies and all that at the moment. So that's where the increased scrutiny is coming from, because under terms and conditions, they will, they can send your data to other entities.
Now, there's a very interesting story in Deutsche Welle as well. So, Europe mocks effectiveness of face masks. So, it's becoming increasingly common sight in European countries. People wearing face masks to protect themselves and others from infections. Now, the effectiveness, according to this report, is a matter of debate. Now, if you notice, in China and most Asian countries, wearing face masks to protect yourself against any pollution is very, very common.
Yeah.
But what is happening is that a town in Germany has decided that everybody must wear a face mask. The whole of Austria has decided that if you are going out to any supermarket, you have to wear a face mask.
Yeah. And there's a very interesting article in your favorite South China Morning Post, an opinion piece yesterday from a doctor who analyzes the cultural differences between the West and the East on face mask and why the West has struggled to come to terms with how important face mask is.
And because of that, I have an interesting story. So Dr. Fauci, we know Dr. Fauci is the head of epidemiology for US. Now, Anthony Fauci says White House coronavirus task force is giving serious consideration to suggesting that Americans must wear face masks. So Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, said Tuesday that the White House coronavirus task force is giving serious consideration to broadening the existing guidance on face masks. But he said first priority must be given to healthcare workers who are currently experiencing a shortage of masks. So they don't have enough. So they don't want to declare. But
exactly,
my point is that there's a shift because initially only the people in Asia were wearing the face masks.
Yes.
Now the Europeans and Americans are seeing that it could reduce the spread of the virus, especially being worn in public places.
Yes.
That's why all our reporters wear face masks when they go out. And we're encouraging that government must make them available for free. I think that if you look at, we are doing mass testing in Kumasi, we are doing mass testing in Ayawaso West Wogon and Wejagbawe. Clearly we are seeing that there are more people who may have the thing than we are being told. We have to make sure that everybody who goes out wears one as a precaution, so that if you look at the way the market women are moving, look at the way we interact, even when you look at the way people buy and sell. Yesterday, Kojajima went out to interview some people who were playing draft, sitting like as if they were lovers. You know, like, yeah.
If you look at the draft board, actually, it's just about 1 meter.
Yeah.
1
So
meter by 1 meter.
we are saying that we must make face masks part of the solution, as especially for those who are going out, so that once you are outside, you wear it so that if you have it, if you cough or you sneeze, you keep it within yourself. It doesn't spread to anybody. So we are going to declare this week a face mask week, and we are going to wear face masks throughout the day. And we're also going to say to all those who are going out, as much as possible, get a face mask. But first of all, government must make it available. I don't think we can even depend on private sellers.
No.
Because it's going to lead to a lot of.
But it's the same thing we said about the hand sanitizers. We should have gotten to the point where government was giving hand sanitizers for free in traffic, because hand sanitizer had become the essential, kind of like soup. So it was either government was giving away soup or it was giving away hand sanitizer. We should not be buying those things at this moment,
because they are now a public
health
necessity.
We should not be buying a bar of soup, or they could have just made small bars of soup available, or a hand sanitizer.
There's a press conference at 8 o'clock today, and we will explore that question further. But thank you, gentlemen. That was a newspaper review. And coming up next is the Citi